You ever hear a story that sounds too strange to be real, until you realize it could have happened to anyone? My name's insert narrator's name, or leave blank for anonymity. What you're about to hear isn't an urban legend or something passed around on Reddit for thrills. It's something that really happened to me. I never believed in conspiracy theories or monsters or anything hiding beneath the surface. Until I found the signal, until I went looking for my uncle, and until I learned what waits below us isn't meant to be seen. This is the signal below. I've been surrounded by conspiracy theories my whole life. Not because I believed in them, but because of my Uncle Warren. He was that relative. The one everyone avoided during holidays. The one people warned their kids about before visiting. He never hurt anyone. There was just something about him that made others uneasy. He had a jaw disorder from birth. His teeth jutted out at odd angles, so he wore rubber guards at night to stop them from slicing his cheeks. He had diabetes too. You could always smell the faint mix of insulin and peanut butter crackers whenever he hugged you. His shirts were faded ghosts of old logos, his glasses too big for his face, and his hairline had retreated long before I was born. But to me, Uncle Warren wasn't strange. He was brilliant. He could fix anything: TVs, radios, old generators. While he talked about subsonic weapons and secret military tunnels, he'd show me how to repair a capacitor or rebuild a broken circuit board. His house was like a time capsule. Wallpaper peeling, flickering fluorescent lights, and carpet that crunched at the edges. But the room that fascinated me most was the back room, his workshop. My mother only went in there once. She came out pale and refused to ever step inside again. Inside, the air smelled of machine oil and old paper. Every wall was covered with shelves of tools, yellowed blueprints, and flickering monitors. One screen looped grainy footage of a cave somewhere in Turkey. Another displayed seismic readouts. That was Warren's obsession, the mole people. He didn't imagine them as cartoonish monsters. He said they were pale, sightless beings who had adapted to darkness. "They can hear us," he'd whisper once, leaning close. "They can feel the vibrations when we walk. They know where we are." Once on a camping trip, I tried to start a fire. He stopped me. He didn't shout. He just looked at the flames and said softly, "Fire draws attention. Some things can't handle sudden light. It hurts them. When you're near their domain, respect their rules." I didn't understand then. I laughed it off. But I remember the look in his eyes, like someone who'd seen something and wished he hadn't. Years passed. I got busy. Work, rent, life. I didn't visit as often. Then one afternoon, my mom mentioned him like it was nothing. "Oh, by the way, your uncle hasn't been home in weeks." Todd went to check, but everything looked fine. That was it. No search party, no missing poster. Everyone said the same thing. He probably went chasing another theory, but I knew him. He might have been eccentric, but he wasn't careless. He would have called. He would have left a note. That night, I couldn't sleep. Something in my chest kept tightening, the kind of feeling that only comes before bad news. By morning, I had made up my mind. I didn't tell anyone. I just got in my car and drove to his house. The place looked exactly the same. His old sedan sat in the driveway. The porch light was dead. When I stepped inside, it was like time had stopped. The air was heavy with dust and faintly sweet, like old peanut butter and metal. His medication box still sat on the kitchen counter, untouched. The insulin vials were full. He never missed a dose. Never. That's when I knew something was wrong. A faint electrical hum came from the back of the house, his workshop. The door creaked open under my hand. Inside, it looked like it always had, but something had changed. The chalkboard that covered the far wall was filled to the edges with diagrams, claw sketches, and notes written in red ink. It wasn't random anymore. Everything pointed to one thing: the mole people. Pinned to the center of the board was a grainy black and white photo of a circular depression in the earth. Beneath it, too consistent to be weather, and a set of coordinates. On the workbench lay a folded note, and his old Motorola phone still buzzing faintly. The note said, "I knew you'd be the one to find this. I finally found something, and I want you to see it. Follow the signal." The GPS device beside it was blinking, and that was all it took. I packed a small bag, water flashlight, spare batteries, and followed the signal. The drive took me north past cell towers and paved roads into the kind of wilderness where the air feels heavier. By the time I reached the coordinates, the sun had already begun to sink. The land was barren, just a ridge of broken rock and a dry gulch below. At first, I thought I was in the wrong place. Then I saw a narrow crack between two walls of stone, barely visible. When I shone my light inside, the beam disappeared into nothing. It wasn't a cave. It was a passage. I don't know why, but I felt drawn in. I adjusted my backpack, took one deep breath, and squeezed through. The air grew colder immediately. My flashlight flickered against the rock, catching veins of quartz and old roots. The walls were close enough that my shoulders brushed both sides. I counted my steps, trying not to panic. After 20 paces, it opened up into a small chamber. And that's when I saw the first footprint. A boot print, deep, worn unevenly. I recognized it instantly. Uncle Warren's. My pulse quickened. I followed the trail deeper. Each step echoed faintly, swallowed by the earth. Then I found a torn glove. Then an empty glucose tube, strawberry flavored. The same kind he always carried. He was here, recently. My flashlight trembled in my hand. A few feet further, I saw something propped on a rock ledge. His old Motorola flip phone. The screen still glowed faintly. I called his name. My voice bounced off the walls and came back distorted. That's when I saw it. A sleeping bag half buried in dust. Faded green canvas with a broken zipper. His. He looked like he was sleeping. His glasses were still perched on his forehead, his hands folded across his chest. I knelt beside him, whispering, "Uncle Warren, I brought your meds. What are you doing down here?" I touched his shoulder. The fabric was damp. When I moved the flashlight lower, the beam caught something dark spreading through the canvas. At first, I thought it was shadow. Then I realized it was blood. I unzipped the bag halfway, and I stopped breathing. His chest had collapsed inward. His ribs were bent, cracked, splintered like dry wood. The lower half of his torso had been torn open, not cut, but ripped in wide, jagged tears. Flesh pulled apart like wet paper. There were deep arcs along his sides, indentations, not teeth marks, but something round, as if hooked claws had clamped down and dragged. The air turned thick with the smell of iron and decay. I stumbled back, gagging bile burning in my throat. When I looked again, his left hand was missing a finger. Gray, decomposed. I forced myself to stand, but then I heard it. A scrape, soft, close, then another. From the opposite wall, I froze, holding my breath. The sound came again, Something dragging against the rock. I turned slowly, sweeping the light. Nothing, just dust. Then something moved just at the edge of the beam. A blur of grey, low, fast. Another shape followed. Then another. 3, maybe 4 of them. They stayed just outside the light circling. I remembered what Warren once said. If you run, they chase. My heart pounded so loud, I could hear it echo. I took one shaky step back. Then instinct, I flicked the flashlight off. Darkness swallowed me whole. The scraping grew louder, closer. I could feel the air shifting pebbles, moving near my feet. I counted silently. 1, 2, 3. And I turned the light back on. For 1 second, just one, I saw it. It crouched 6 feet away. Pale skin stretched over bone. No hair, no lips. Its eyes were small black, sunken like pits that refused to reflect light. The skin around its mouth sagged, and when it shrieked, the sound wasn't loud but high-thin, like feedback from a broken speaker. It recoiled instantly, scrambling into the rock. 2 more followed it into the darkness. I ran. My light swung wildly as claws scraped behind me. One of them dropped from the ceiling, missed me by inches. Another lunged from the right, grazing my leg. I felt the flashlight clattering across the floor. Something grabbed my ankle, cold, leathery fingers digging in. Then a sound. My jacket had hit the ground, and from the pocket came the Motorola ringtone. That awful, distorted chime. It echoed through the tunnel, bouncing off the stone in mechanical shrieks. The creatures screamed. One slammed into the wall so hard, dust rained from the ceiling. Another clawed at its own ears. I crawled toward. The light grabbed the flashlight and ran. The signal bars on the phone flickered, finally alive. All the missed calls, all the voicemails, every notification bursting through at once, one long broken scream of digital noise. The creatures couldn't stand it. They twisted, convulsed, fled back into the cracks. I ran until the cold air turned warm, until I saw daylight. I don't remember how long I sat outside the cave. The sun felt unreal. I called the police anonymously. They found his body 2 days later. They sealed the cave. The official story was simple. A reclusive man died exploring an unstable mine. But I know what I saw, and I know what I heard. I still have his GPS. It still blinks every night. Same coordinates, same signal. But lately, the blinking has gotten faster. They sealed the cave months ago. They said it was unsafe, unstable rock, gas leaks, all the usual excuses. But I still have his GPS. It still blinks, same coordinates. And lately, the light's been pulsing faster. I don't know if he found them, or if they found him. Maybe I'll never know. But if you ever see a flickering signal on your map out in the woods or the mountains, don't follow it. Because once you do, it might start following you. You've been listening to NightLore, where every story leaves a shadow.